Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for a webinar today on the secret to digital transformation in healthcare with Pritesh Sonu, CEO and founder of our partner Pravaah Consulting. I'm Nick Sangvi, and I lead alliances and partnerships here at Caspio. And we're very pleased to have you join us on today's webinar. I will begin with a quick 2-minute video on Caspio and allow more folks to join in on the webinar. So with that, here we go.
Building a custom web application is complex. You need skilled developers, big budgets, and lots of time.
Developing custom software using traditional tools is very labor intensive.
I'm not a hardcore coder. I don't do that. I've never had that experience.
I have zero experience in coding or any IT experience at all.
Now, there's a better way to bring your business ideas to life. With Caspio, you can build sophisticated web applications without programming. Caspio's all-in-one cloud platform provides visual point-and-click tools instead of coding. Create powerful, secure, and scalable applications in a matter of hours instead of days.
We worked on this project using Caspio in literally 40% of the time that it would have taken to work on the same project using conventional software development tools.
Caspio had that right balance of easy to use up front, but then also something that I could extend to a more integrated platform.
Now that Caspio has taken our business up a level and streamlined our systems, we're actually able to design and move through the process of engineering a ride much faster.
So, what are you waiting for?
It's pretty straightforward, it's cost effective, and you can really do some pretty impressive things with a tool that isn't that hard to use.
Join thousands of happy customers. Sign up for a free trial and get started today.
Great. So with that, let's get into the content. And just a couple of housekeeping items. We want to make this webinar a fun and interactive experience for everyone. So please go over to the chat, say hi, and drop us a comment. Throughout the webinar, use the Q&A button at the bottom of the window to leave us a question, and we will make sure to get to all of the questions during the webinar. And for those who just joined, we are proud to co-host today's webinar with Pritesh Sonu from our partner Pravaah Consulting. So I'll do a brief introduction of Caspio and then turn things over to Pritesh. Caspio, for those of you who are not aware or those who are new to Caspio, we are a low-code platform that can be used to solve your most complex business needs. And our mission is to enable businesses of all industries and sizes to build custom business applications without coding or having to rely on expensive IT resources. And this is accomplished via our point-and-click tools, a guided development process, and secure and scalable cloud infrastructure. We understand that growing a business comes with continuous change and improvement, and that includes the tech stack behind the business. Caspio enables you to build and deploy custom web apps much faster and cheaper than traditional methods, leaving you with more time and cash to do what you do best, innovate. And unlike other SaaS and low-code, no-code tools, we allow for unlimited internal and external users to the application, so your costs don't increase as you scale. If you would like more information on Caspio, please reach out to Pritesh or myself for a separate discussion after this webinar. And remember, no code, no compromise, just Caspio. With that, over to you, Pritesh, for our webinar.
Hey, thank you, Nick. Hello, everyone. I'm Pritesh. As Nick introduced, I run a digital agency, and we are one of the partners of Caspio, and very happy to really conduct this have a chance to really speak about digital transformation for healthcare. And I will look forward to an interactive conversation. And if there is something which we are not able to cover during this call, I'll be happy to set up a time outside this meeting, this webinar to really discuss that. So hello. And let me share my screen. Okay, first today's webinar, this is the agenda we have. We quickly talk about what the market looks like, what the leaders are doing, where we stand from a healthcare standpoint, what everybody is thinking about. We'll talk about the current state of affairs in terms of spending and where the focus areas are. We'll also share our point of view around digital transformation in healthcare. What is really going on? What are the low-hanging fruits? What different healthcare facilities can cover and achieve. And then, more importantly, we'll get into if you are ready for digital transformation for your facility, for your healthcare operations, how do you really get started? What are the simple ways to really get started without really boiling the ocean and thinking big about building big systems and all? So that's what we cover the fourth section. And with our partnership with Caspio, we'll then talk about how we can work together, like how Caspio and Pravaah Consulting can work together to really bring your vision to life or whatever you decide as part of digital transformation to life. And then have a quick recap of what we covered, followed by a Q&A session. Okay, before we talk about the market, I thought it might be helpful to just set the stage with what is digital transformation. And over the last, I would say, 10, 12 years, I believe everybody has been talking about digital transformation. Different people have different definitions, different industries have different definitions. I have personally worked in financial industry, high tech, healthcare, and it has evolved as well. But to me, and I was trying to kind of narrow it down, it boils down to eventually technological advancements, which kind of does like three things. One, it actually creates a very seamless experience for the patient. Two, it actually helps you optimize your operations in a clinic or a hospital or any medical facility that you're operating. And then last but not the least, it does provide a better healthcare service and support to the patient as they move along. So that's a kind of a definition, and those are the kind of three drivers we will focus on as we go through the webinar. Okay. Let's talk about market, and we kind of looked at a few reports. The one which I'll be kind of sharing some data from is from MuleSoft. So they actually publish something called Connectivity Benchmark. This was generated based on interviews conducted with over 1,000 IT leaders, and good 20-25% were actually from healthcare. But what we have noticed is, this whole digital healthcare market is kind of growing and growing really rapidly. We have seen a trend where once the pandemic started, it actually saw a pretty big surge in growth. And a lot of, we've also noticed that a lot of startups have also actually started in these years, primarily focused on, solving some specific problems in the healthcare. And so there's definitely a lot of spending going on in the healthcare market. We see a lot of products and all. And if you look at the growth, it's supposed to go to about 430 billion by 2028, which is amounts to about compound annual growth rate of 30%. Also, about 95% of the healthcare leaders, they all agreed that the organizations must actively invest in digital transformation, the healthcare organizations. And as you will see, like it's not about a fancy thing to do, but more from a sense of if you do not actually do that, you're not keeping up with every other industry, the expectations from the patient, and after all, it's a human who's there, and with the different interactions the human is having across the board, the expectations are pretty high, even from a healthcare industry. So they all feel that yes, we should definitely invest in digital transformation, and in terms of how they kind of look at this whole transformation. Most of them, like 84% of the healthcare providers, uh, believe that digitization is one way to really kind of improve this and or create this personalized response of healthcare facilities to the patients. So this is like some quick stats here. And then if you look at the current state of affairs, when we look at some of the what our IT decision makers are really believing in. And as I said, it's not about a fancy thing to do, but if you do not actually invest in it, most of the IT leaders have agreed that it could actually lose up to 6 million, and these are for the bigger facility, bigger hospitals. On an average, they feel that they can lose if they do not really invest in it, be it in terms of operations or operational effectiveness, or be it in terms of patients moving to other facilities because they're not really getting the level of service they're expecting. Also, the IT decision makers believe that again, we have all witnessed, like since pandemic, this whole transformation has accelerated quite a bit. More and more clinics and facilities, for example, are giving online appointment options where you don't really have to pick up a phone and call people to really book an appointment. A lot of times you can actually change your appointments online and enter your insurance information. A lot of bigger facilities also enable you to check in online. So it becomes very seamless. The paper-based work actually reduces. But you would also notice that a lot of places we still have a lot of paper-based work because of compliance and all. But the smaller facilities are not there yet. This is a general observation because of the spend, or because of the systems available, or they don't really have bandwidth or resources to really bring it to life. And now, again, with the current state of affairs, the general belief is that about 3/4 of the patient interactions are all digital today. So that also creates the need to really see that, hey, digital is the way to go. Digital transformation is here for real. Bigger companies are, of course, doing it. It's time for even smaller companies. Okay, then another aspect to look at is for bigger organizations, the decision makers also feel that they have struggled to integrate the systems with the end user experience. And it's kind of a pretty classic case, and it happens in a lot of industries where when people are really looking for a system, they try to go for a point solution. They look for information or a solution which actually caters to a specific thing. And next day, somebody else comes in, they look for a solution for something else. And then at the end, you end up having all these silos of systems and data sitting in different areas. And which it actually prohibits people to really kind of integrate with the end user experience or actually influence that experience. Again, some other challenges which we have noticed is there's a big concern about security and governance, right? So that's always been the top of everybody's mind, that hey, there's a lot of data and we don't want to put it on somewhere, some cloud, or because there are security issues, concerns, and that. And then, of course, some bigger facilities they have actually used technology in the past. They probably have outdated systems, so that's why they're all kind of, majority of them agree that it's kind of difficult with the existing systems and all, and the way the data is sitting in different silos to really kind of influence the end user experience. And the last point I wanted to kind of talk about was around the usage of APIs. So that's something which we have seen quite a significant increase in the past few years. Most of those startups which are actually coming up with some specific solutions, and some of these could be fancy, they actually end up, you could consume some of these through APIs. So essentially, there's a big increase in the API usage with the different systems bigger organizations are having. And we also feel that, and then the general perception was like, this has increased the agility, increased the employee engagement, as well as they've seen a peak in the productivity.
And just for the benefit of non-technical folks on the audience, APIs just means application programming interface, and these are typically used to integrate various systems together. That's the current standard for bringing together various disparate systems. And also a reminder, if you guys have any questions, you don't need to wait till the end. You can keep chiming in using the Q&A button at the bottom.
Yeah, and Nick, if you could just let me know if there's something comes up in between, because I'm not able to see that. Great. So with that, I'll move on to the next section, which is our point of view in this area. And as we think, like larger organizations do have budget, they have resources, they have various consulting companies, various experts working with them to really create a vision of what the transformation might look like, what the roadmap will look like, what kind of systems and features and interactions we want to influence. But as we are putting this together primarily for mid-sized enterprises, clinics or facilities, I thought it might help to have like 3 or 4 focus areas as part of for digital transformation. The first and the foremost was patient-centered service design, and then implementation for that. So service design is essentially bringing together things like people, process, tool, infrastructure, communication, everything together to really kind of define the services you're going to offer from your facility to your patients. It's just not about technology, but a lot of things around process and automation and how you actually influence the experience. So first focus area, which I thought might be helpful, would be to really go with the patient-centered approach, and then accordingly create the service design and then implement on that. Second piece, which is kind of a key piece, and where we are collecting a lot of information from a patient's standpoint. So how do we really kind of leverage the data without really compromising on the data to really provide a better patient care, right? How can the data be used to really provide care for patient and improve that, reduce manual errors or give alerts? So that's where I feel that's another focus area we should focus on as we think about from a digital transformation standpoint. The third one is, which is a kind of a key, like any healthcare facility, if you're running a business, it's important to really have a tab on a lot of things that's going on, get some good insights from what's really happening in the operations, so that you could take some good management decisions and actions. So that's the third area, which is kind of a key. And last but not the least, as we think from different services you're going to create for your patient, identification of areas which can be automated. There are a lot of processes on a day-to-day basis, if you think about it, like patient onboarding to really confirming an appointment to filling out different forms. So a lot of these actually present opportunities for facilities to really automate and make it digital, capture the information digitally, so that less errors and it's easy to really maintain. So these are the 4 areas we feel that from a point of view that we could focus on. Okay. As we've been talking about the fact that a lot of organizations, or bigger organizations, are already in the journey for digital transformation, but there still is a lot to be done. Again, there are different maturity stages of from a healthcare standpoint, but hospitals and facilities which are already kind of embarking this journey, they're moving towards where data is influencing a lot of things, and a lot of automation based on that, intelligence based on that. And again, if you have big budget, a lot of resources, it's a lot easier to do. But again, bigger facilities have done that, and they have actually created a lot of digital interactions. I do see that in California, a lot of facilities, like if I go to some of the bigger hospitals, the past few years, a lot, my history is there, medication, tests, whatever I'm going through, everything is there in the different apps. We also, I think, booking appointments, like almost like it's table stakes, right? Telehealth, like if you're able to consult with the doctor online, or we can chat with the doctor about, if something comes up. Those things are also, everybody's expecting that today, right? In any facility. As a patient, you demand access to your healthcare data, easy access, like a report for lab reports to medications, what you're taking, and having a whole history of what your appointments were in the past and what's going on. So that's another thing which patients are demanding, and it's there. Of course, the expectation is also to have a high quality of care and services, good response time, less wait times. Those are things which patients are also expecting. Smaller facilities have struggled, honestly, to really implement a lot of these technologies. I know facilities which have gone into the SaaS model, where they've bought different products for, let's say, $200 a month per user, where they get billing and invoicing. But these are, again, like I said, very siloed solutions. There are products like that, but then there's not there's not one product which actually gives everything and can actually go with your vision of providing a good healthcare service to your patient. This also presents a huge opportunity for clinics and smaller facilities to implement new technologies, and this is an area which we do that. Then some of the key benefits here are, like, lesser stress to the people who are at the facility, the quicker turnaround time, and more importantly, also walk away from any manual errors, so accurate diagnosis and some help for the practitioners as well, and overall lower the cost for the patient. We covered that earlier, but I just wanted to also talk about the threats to digital transformation, or what really typically stops IT managers to really go through that, right? So data security, again, is a big piece where people don't have the knowledge or the resources. There are security experts out there who could actually guide them for the data security standpoint. And then data processing, the kind of data which you are actually collecting, how do you really process it, utilize that? That's also, and also keeping the data in sync across different processes. These are some of the challenges which are there. Talent is another key area where if you are a smaller facility, you're not really going to invest in keeping a cybersecurity expert to really kind of manage all these. This, which actually creates a high risk in terms of exposure to hacks and stuff. In general, if a facility has been running for a while, there is a resistance to change, like in any other organization. people are used to certain way of working, then there's a whole resistance to change. So that's another area. And last but not the least, the budget, because it all sounds like, oh, this is a big budget investment, like we're talking about millions of dollars to really make it happen. Certain hospitals spend like tens of $1 millions or hundreds of $1 millions to really kind of keep it going. So it kind of creates this whole notion that, yeah, if I have to embark this journey, I have to have deep pockets, have to have bigger facilities. My business needs to be a lot bigger to really run it. So these are some of the threats we have heard from people who are operating smaller facilities. Any questions so far?
Yeah, I don't see anything in the Q&A so far, Pritesh, but I think maybe towards the end.
Sure. Okay. So how do we really get started with this, right? So let's say you're bought into this, like, hey, yes, I do need this. And I'm guessing most of you who are attending or who will watch the video later on do have a sense that, yeah, this is an area we need to invest on as a business owner. So how do we really get started? Again, without really creating a pretty complicated framework where you have to dive deeper to really understand the jargons and understand everything else. Look at it very simply, right? A little bit of research upfront can help a lot. And then as we think about this whole digital transformation, the patient needs to be the center of the universe. So if you think from that perspective, like a patient-centered approach, do a little bit of research to see what the demographic is, what is the expectation in your facility, and then identify what could be the expectations from the patients. And one quick way could be to see if there are facilities in the area which are offering a lot better transformation, digital experiences to the patient. And that will help you in identifying some of the key things which you want to really kind of target. And with that, it's also about, there's a little bit of leap of faith to say, hey, yeah, you say telling all these good stories. Should we just go with one of the tools which you're talking about? So why not just do a proof of concept? So take us like one of areas which you want to really kind of build on, but do a proof of concept to ensure that it is actually delivering what it promises to deliver. So that is a good starting point. These things could be pretty quick. Can be done in a few weeks, even not even few, like maybe a couple of weeks or so. But this definitely helps you test out, what you're thinking can be done for a particular facility. And from there on, if that actually works out, you could move on to really kind of thinking about, okay, what are the key features which I want to deliver? What are the key experiences which I want to deliver to the patients? And then prioritize that based on what how it actually impacts the patient's behavior as well as the experience. So we can come up with a list and then we can prioritize this. And also, because if you're already operating a facility, it's very, if you can just list down the different workflows which you are working on, it will also enable you to really look at it from an experience enhancement standpoint to see if there are certain workflows which can be automated, which will actually influence the experience. So you get to the stage where you outline these, come up with the list, prioritize the ones which you really want to take upfront once a POC has been approved. And then you start putting these out on some sort of a plan to say how you're going to make this, bring this to life, right? So essentially look at some of the features which are table stakes, like, okay, booking an appointment, yes, everybody wants it. Managing a patient interaction, yes, that's definitely something the doctor would love to have, right? So they could be using different systems, different, like I said, there are various SaaS models are available. There are various install models also available, but they are all creating silos of data. So determine the associated workflows which you want to also automate, and then put things on a roadmap to say, in the first 30 days, this is what I'm going to achieve. 60 days, these are the workflows which I'm going to automate. And I'm talking about weeks and months right now, mainly because we are actually partnering with Caspio, and which is a big enabler to do that. Because if we were to really build this ground up, like a custom build this various technologies, then you're talking about months and months of effort to really build something like this. But with Caspio, it does help in planning things out on a roadmap, which would be like every month you're delivering really rich features or something comes out. And then you kind of build this out, test it with the patients, and it's very easy to iterate on it, right? So essentially, you can collect feedback. There's a feedback loop mechanism which you can install. And based on the feedback, you can go back and change or enhance the experiences. So this kind of creates a a small shop that you don't have to really boil the ocean, but this is a very quick way to really get started. And as we go embark this journey, as we build out at least the table stakes features, at that point in time, you can take a call to say, hey, do I want to mature to the next level? Do I want to really kind of, let's say, become more data driven? How do I really enhance or move some of the key performance metrics? But this is how we recommend you get started on this journey. Okay. No questions? All right. This is just kind of from just to think about, what are the some of the basic features anyone would need, or what are some of the basic features we have noticed also people are actually asking for. Registration, essentially, if you are having a multi-doctor facility, then you want to have a registration for the doctors, patients, capturing information about the patient, like intake forms. All that is part of the registration, creating different admin systems, access levels for different people. So what data can be accessed by who. So all that is part of the registration. Booking an appointment, again, something where people can search for doctors, look at their availability, key in their insurance, to also ensure they are in network, out of the network, other information. And then essentially block calendars for the doctor so that you don't really have to spend a lot of time waiting. There are various use cases which we are also trying to solve in terms of reducing the wait times at doctor's facility. If the doctor is running late, then how do you really kind of inform the patient to the like, hey, this is how late we are, this is what we are predicting, how much time it will take for your appointment to come. So those are some of the more enhanced features which we are working on for some of the facilities. But again, at a starting point, at least booking an appointment, searching for the doctor for a specific area, and then booking. Third, patient management. Again, this is one of the key things which I feel is essential. And depending on the kind of facility you're running, a lot of times you do have to type a lot when you are actually interacting with the patient to see what the symptoms are, what the diagnosis is, or what kind of treatment you're going with. So there are ways where we can automate a lot of these intakes, right? As you are actually, let's say, listening from the patient what they're talking about. You could create a lot of rule-based features where certain things match, then things get auto-populated. So your typing time is reduced, and you're able to really move things faster by just clicking through it. So those are the things you can do. And as part of patient management, you can capture all the information from the patient, maintain the history of the patient, medications, existing medications, and then you can tweak those, send it to the pharmacies. You could also integrate with, let's say, an imaging facility or any labs where you want to kind of send the patient to, where everything can be sent digitally from the facility. And then last but not the least, the reporting piece is again a key one, just to get a sense of how your business is doing too, right? Not just from the patient standpoint, but in general, like how many patients are you getting? What kind of problems are people really reporting? There could be a trend. Like COVID, most of the people are, let's say, coming to COVID. This is an example, or flu, or whatever it is. So there's a lot of insights that can be drawn from the data you're collecting, and that can be reported on a regular cadence. And then you can also look at the billings and billing reports and all, so which will actually make you take some informed decisions as a business owner.
So there was one question, and I think maybe we are planning to cover it later, but a question from Julian Alvarado about how do you implement HIPAA with Caspio. And and we can take it up right now, at least at a high level, which is that Caspio is a HIPAA compliant platform out of the box. And so we have plans that provide for HIPAA compliance out of the box. And this includes all of the privacy and security features that are required as part of HIPAA compliance, including signing a BAA and including having our employees certified on HIPAA, and only having that sensitive data is accessed only by certain designated folks in the company. Besides, of course, the fact that no matter whether it's HIPAA or not, all of your data on Caspio is stays very secure and private. No one inside of Caspio has any access to it. The only time that it comes up is when our customers request active support and assistance. And even on those instances, it is only the HIPAA certified support teams that can assist on our HIPAA accounts. And we do have major customers. I know we're talking about small and medium mid-sized practices, but we do also have large healthcare customers such as Emory, Johns Hopkins, UCLA School of Medicine, and many other leading healthcare organizations, both on the payer and provider side, that use Caspio. And we have cleared all of their security audits without any issues. So hopefully that addresses your question. Back to you, Pritesh.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Right. So again, as you're getting started, you're thinking about different features. Now, question is like, how can we help here, right? So the partnership we have with Caspio, Pravaah Consulting and Caspio Help. So good thing is, it's kind of a partnership with organization which is very consulting in nature as well, and then an organization which is providing platform to really build on. So this is like a perfect combo where you are not really kind of starting everything from scratch, as well as you're not really consuming something like a SaaS in a SaaS model, where software as a service model. So our solution, which we are building, again, is very scalable. If you read about Caspio, and if you heard about Caspio, you can store millions of records here, and this is on AWS. So there's a good access control and compliance adherence in place, which actually ensures that we are compliant from our legal standpoint too. So, but pretty scalable solution on AWS, can scale based on your need, and in terms of records and what you want to store, can always grow with as your company grows. Secure and compliant. We didn't hear from Nick just now about being HIPAA compliant and having different checks and balances, even within Caspio, to ensure that there are no leakages and we are complying with all the rules and legal. Role-based access can be easily provisioned on Caspio, which also enables you to make sure that even within your organization, who has access is really controlled. Now, it's a low-cost solution if you compare it to really building any software ground up. When very intricate business requirements can easily be implemented with this. Caspio has its own UI builder, a visual builder, and you could choose not to really use that. You could still build your own UI and consume the functionalities from Caspio as an API. So there are various options available, but still it's a very low cost compared to any custom building solution. Here you could actually, like we talked about building applications, business applications faster. So you could actually start off with an area, and there are other areas that can come in where you want to build different separate applications. You can build it really fast, in a matter of weeks. And of course, time takes less time, so it takes less money. Because this is not a user per user license kind of an arrangement with Caspio has, it's unlimited, so that also saves a big cost. Now, the fourth point again is something which you talked about earlier as we are starting. Right, this is like custom building as per your service design. So it's not like you are designing your services because you bought a product. So it's the other way. That's what you want to be. Typically, when you do not have the resources or the know-how to make things work, what you would do is you go out and buy a product, and the product tells you, okay, these other things will do. Then you design your services around the product. But the approach we are taking, and which is where the industry, not just healthcare, every industry is moving towards, is more customer focused, customer centric, or patient focused, which is what this alliance actually enables you to do. So we can let you build your own service design first, and then build solutions around those service design to really, impact the experience of your patient. Again, you can build smaller apps. A lot of these smaller apps and utilities can be built out. It can all be integrated with the same database, so you have the information in the same place. We talked about faster time to market also earlier, which is, again, the key thing here is, of course, know-how of how to use Caspio to build these applications should be there. We have about 5 Caspio developers alone, so people who actually understand Caspio very well. But we also have a lot of other technologists who we work on custom building solutions as well. So for something like this, if we kind of bring it all together, it's very, we are able to bring a lot of these features to life pretty fast, pretty quick. And because it's also a kind of a managed solution, if you say, like in a sense, you don't really have to worry about different layers from a security standpoint or anything of that sort. So it actually enables you to really, take the features to production or make it available to the end user much faster without causing any infrastructure delays. And like you can start off with some of the basic features, like rich features, and you can keep enhancing those features. So it's based on your vision, your roadmap. You could keep adding on it. So that's another beauty, the thing which we bring to this partnership. Okay. Now, some of the key benefits, again, this is thinking more so from holistically from a healthcare standpoint. As we digitize the operations, the less manual errors, right? Digitized record definitely helps in access of the history, reduces turnaround time. If you can actually get access in a matter of seconds, then it definitely moves appointments faster. Do get a single view of the patient, right? If everything is in the same facility, you could actually also request for information from other facilities and store it too. You can build such features too. So that way you get a single view of the patient, so that when you take a decision around the medication, line of treatment, or anything of that sort, you have a holistic view of it. There could be digital interactions. As you create these systems, it's very easy to really create things like chat feature, where you are able to, have a two-way conversation with the patient as needed. Again, with automation and everything that we talked about, the areas to focus on, operations get streamlined. There are some operational savings too. integrated app, as you can connect with different facilities, different systems which you could be using. Like if you have an imaging center, those facilities can also be integrated. The order can be sent out to imaging center or a lab. If you have any facility, those things can be easily integrated. Again, needs to reduce turnaround time. We talked about reports, so it does give you a lot of actionable insights based on which, as a business owner, you could actually act on it. The reporting can be at different layers, right? So it's not like a standard report. Because we have the data in the system, it's very easy to really kind of create different kinds of report, configure different reports for you. So that is another area which, as we kind of, as you look into this, you will look at, trying to slice and dice the data to really see, what insights can you derive from it. So multi-layer reporting is also possible. And then last but not the least, health alerts. So there are a lot of times you could also build systems around sending out alerts to the patients if you feel that certain parameters are met. So it could be rule-based to begin with, and then as you want to make it more enhanced, it could be also AI ML based. All right. Moving on. And this is just a pitch from both Pravaah Consulting and Caspio, like why us, right? So again, we have from Pravaah Consulting standpoint, we have the technical know-how. We understand the healthcare space, and we are heavily invested in the healthcare domain to really kind of create such systems. We are already created for a few organizations. And from Caspio standpoint, Nick, do you want to cover quickly?
Yeah, I think since we already covered, that's fine, Pritesh. I'll just share this link with folks in the audience. This is, the website where you can reach Pravaah Consulting, and this is specifically their landing page on the Caspio projects and demos that they've built out. But yeah, should you wish to follow up with either one of us, we're easy to reach. Of course, Caspio as well. I'll share our link as well. It's caspio.com, and we look forward to hearing from you should you have any further questions. I did, maybe go ahead with the recap, and then Pritesh, I did have a few questions we can cover.
Sure. So again, quick recap. What we really covered here is, digital transformation is here for healthcare. Bigger organizations have been working on this for a while now. Now with low-code, no-code software, it's possible for even smaller organizations, mid-sized organizations with a smaller budget to really embark this journey. Some of the key things which we talk about from a patient engagement standpoint were like digitize the experience, appointment booking, create an ecosystem for better engagement, whether it's two-way conversations or we're talking to the patient, or even going with Teladoc kind of a facility. Easy access to the healthcare information, not just for the patient, but also for the doctor, and things like, the history, what happened earlier, all those interactions can be also digitized and made available. And alerts, we talked about that a little bit. And then last but not the least, even help out the medical practitioners, although it might sound like, no, we cannot educate medical practitioners, they already know about it. But again, just to kind of enable them to really have easy access to the information to say, if I write certain symptoms, you already have a way to really look at, 5 things that could be the reason. You can always have the 6th one, which you think, but just to really kind of enable them as they actually go through the appointment process. So these are some of the things which can be built out. And then from a transformation standpoint, this low-code, no-code software definitely provides that opportunity for mid-size facilities with lower budget to even embark this journey. Okay.
That's great. Yeah, thanks for all the great content, Pritesh. So maybe I think one question on behalf of the audience that kind of comes to mind is that since we're talking about budgets, How much does a typical project like this cost in your own experience working with other clients? How much, you know, or another way to put it would be, what is maybe the minimum budget or budget range that Pravaah Consulting, considers when accepting projects like these? Another tied up question to that as a follow on would be in the ROI determination as well.
Sure. So both very good questions, Nick. So from a budget standpoint, typically, if you want to build something like this, and again, I'm assuming it's just not one sliver of the features we talked about. It can. What I've seen is it ranges from anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 when you build a system, something like this. Again, the basic features. So the starting point, I would say, would be about $10,000 as a one-time fee, plus whatever the recurring fee from a cloud hosting fee from a Caspio standpoint is. So that's a typical budget smaller facilities will start off with. A lot of times you start off with like a 10,000, okay, this kind of a feature, and then as you see the benefit of using it, you are able to really then say, okay, I want 10 more things, and you end up spending a lot more. So that's a range. Yes, second question around the ROI. That's a very, very good question again. From a ROI standpoint, it's and that's a struggle most of the times. Business owners will have to say, hey, what's my return on the investment I'm making here? The easiest way to look at that would be time to serve the patient. So you will see a significant drop in the time to serve the patient, like the appointment, like duration of the appointments itself, which also means that in the same amount of time, which is limited for a doctor, you're able to serve more patients. So that's an immediate return you will see. It's kind of difficult to really kind of measure that because every facility will be different. But for a couple of facilities where we have seen this, with this whole managing the appointment itself, there's a clear 30% reduction in that whole time. The second area where we feel a lot of times people are saving, on is appointment booking and cancellation and those kind of areas. I believe there was some stat around in the US per year, because of appointment cancellation alone, per patient, per medical practitioner, to lose about $150,000 or so. So that's a quantified number. That's like based on some study and all. So booking, like if we are creating a good booking system, not just block a calendar, but a way to really kind of engage and charge, and also kind of give the timeline as to when you can change an appointment, cancel an appointment, and all. You will see kind of that number go down significantly, right? So that is one of the data points I had, which I thought might be helpful to really understand where you could actually start seeing the benefits right away.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, as a consumer of healthcare as well, I can easily, when there are healthcare practices that provide for online appointment booking and all that, it's just a time saver, just a delightful experience as a consumer. Whereas those practices where you have to actually call in and speak to a receptionist, it's always a hindrance. And we all lead such busy lives, and then you have to call during those working hours and wait, on hold and whatnot. That's just from a consumer side, but even from a medical practice point of view, currently staffing costs are running high due to high inflation, especially in healthcare. And do you really want receptionists just answering calls to just schedule appointments? Whereas, having a simple low-cost system, scalable system where your customers can log in any time of the day or night, even on the weekends, and schedule appointments with themselves. Would you not want to offer that to them? That's just one example of looking towards a patient-centric experience. And yeah, so that's great. And if there are any other questions in the audience, please feel free to share them now. Otherwise, I just one final question, at least from my end, that I could think of, Pritesh, is that, or actually two. One is, in terms of maturity models, what have you seen? Obviously, the larger the healthcare organization, the more budget they have to invest in IT, etc. But just in terms of maturity models and the progression, what have you seen? And then towards closing, in terms of next steps, can folks in the audience reach out to you, Pravaah Consulting, for a free consultation? Is that, how would you advise in terms of next steps?
Sure. Let me cover the maturity model part. So typically for any industry, we try to do like a crawl, walk, run kind of a model, right? To say, hey, when you are just starting, where do you start, right? What do you really get to? And then walk and run and maybe fly later on. Those are some of the things where, it comes with a lot of maturity within the organization and a lot of spending, the bigger organizations. So I've seen some of the bigger hospitals, how they're actually going about it too. So there are other challenges for bigger hospitals, by the way, because of the legacy systems and systems of siloed systems, and also that's a different problem to solve from a digital transformation standpoint. But for some for organizations which are just starting, I did lay out some of the table stakes features, right? So things like managing patients, managing doctors, managing the appointments, then creating some sort of a reminder, like automated reminders for the patients. Patients able to really kind of create their own reminders, right, from a medication standpoint. So let's say you have, doctor gives you medications, and so there's a lot that can be achieved even when you are starting new. The advantage of starting new is that you don't really have any tech debt, right? What we call a tech debt, where you are having different systems where you have to first fix those areas before you even talk about some, then implementing new things. So that is an advantage. At the same time, it will be a learning experience for even the facility which is using it. So there has to be some sort of a training to say, hey, what my new process is going to look like? How am I going to use the system? So that's where this whole idea about service design, like, it really is important, and which actually takes people, process, technology, communication, all that into account. Now, from a maturity standpoint, as you get to the, let's say, from crawl to walk or to run, data starts playing a lot more bigger role. And from that standpoint, like the data can drive a lot of insights and decisions and all. So I guess at that point in time, people try to use, there are a lot of other startups also trying to kind of help those bigger organizations with that, with the run phase of the maturity, where data is giving you insights, you're consuming through APIs, you're sharing some information, metadata, and you're getting insights, like patient alert system, guiding the doctor with certain information, sharing some research papers. I mean, there are a lot of use cases that are getting solved. Then again, bigger hospitals are also, like, they're also busy in terms of solving the problem of data sitting in silos today. So there are so many systems. Everybody who thought of a system, they bought a new one. So I know we have two minutes left. So let me cover the second piece, which you mentioned. Yes, people can contact me. I think I have my email ID here, and I will also share my calendar or our calendar with you, Nick, so you can actually share as part of a note to everyone who has participated. So I'm happy to have a 30-minute consultation where we can discuss about your clinic and opportunity there, how things can be shaped up, how we can get started. So that will be absolutely free. So feel free to book an appointment, and then we can go from there.
Perfect. That's great, Pritesh. And looks like we're ending right on time. So thanks to all of you for participating. And should you have any further follow-up questions after the webinar, feel free to reach out to us. Pritesh and I are both easy to reach out to, and we look forward to hearing from you. So thank you all for your time today, and thanks, Pritesh, for the great content.
Okay,
Bye
thank
now.
you. Thank you,
Take care.
everyone. Bye.